All right. Thank you everyone for being here. Our presenter today is JK Machine. And before we start, let's do a little housekeeping. Make sure you checked in and also make sure you do the scholarship. So the scholarship is given to, there's 5 Washington County high school students, so you'll get 500 if you get the scholarship, and 5 Washington County high school teachers and 2 Washington County middle school teachers. So the scholarship is, to get the scholarship, you kind of like do an essay, a slideshow, or a video or a poster that will explain how STEM helped you with your school. And there's no limit to, or there's no like what do you call this, you can purchase whatever with your whether you, if you win this manufacturing scholarship, like your, like a Chromebook or anything, or sewing machines. And then next is the evaluation. Make sure you do the evaluation because that's your attendance. And if you have questions and doesn't know how to formulate it, we have a great questions document. And make sure to type in your questions on the chat. And be fully present, pay attention and participate, ask questions. And that's it. So we'll have the JK Machine do their presentation.
Hi there, I'm Connie Lindsay from GK Machine, and
I'm Brent Selnow, sales for GK Machine.
And I do marketing and communications, and Brent and I work together a lot. I do a lot of supporting of the sales staff here at GK Machine. You know, marketing as far as website, all that kind of stuff. And what we're going to do today is we kind of wanted to show you what happens in our shop. And so we have a video that we'd like to share, and you'll get to see inside the shop what happens here on a daily basis. And then at the end of the video, Brent and I can answer any of your questions. GK Machine has been here in Donald, Oregon since the mid 1970s. The owner started out in a garage repairing agricultural equipment. And here we are 46 years later, and we're building, manufacturing and shipping equipment all over the world. So it's kind of that American dream story of a young man at 17 starting out, and he has built this multi-million-dollar company. So Brent, do you want to add anything?
We do everything from concept, even from a napkin all the way through drawings. We have a full engineering staff, and we oversee everything from concept through finished product and shipping. And you'll see that in the video that we do all that. And at the end of the video, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask.
Okay. So with that said, I'll go ahead and I'll try to share my screen.
Share.
I have to pick what I'm sharing on.
Click on the video.
Oh, Connie, I think the sound is missing.
Oh, is it? Hold on.
Yeah, if you unshare and then reshare, there should be a box at the bottom of the screen that says, what does it say? Something about audio, allowing audio, or share my audio. Or share sound is the.
Share sound.
Yeah, there should be a bottom left. When you click share screen, you get the pop-up, and then you get share sound at the bottom.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's try this again with sound. hear it now?
Sounds great.
GK Machine has been growing now for 40 years. From the simple beginning of repairing tractors and trailers to a world-class manufacturing facility, we have made it our business to grow. We now have over 175 employees working in 4 different product areas: agricultural products, greenhouses, custom equipment, and contract manufacturing. Let's take a look at some of the work that goes on here at GK Machine.
We here at GK have a lot of opportunities to work with your hands. So if you have a good work ethic, you're here on time, there's lots of things that you can do to advance yourself throughout the company. You can start in the assembly side of it, putting things together. You can start with the laser tables, breaking out parts, marking parts, doing the quality control. There's just a lot of hands-on jobs here that are available throughout the company.
We could build anything in this place, and every year he got better and better at it. One day we're making locomotives, the next day we're making sprinklers. It changes constantly around here, and that's why I like working here, because it's fast-paced and something new all the time.
What I find interesting about GK is it's located in this small town of Donald, in seemingly the middle of nowhere. You could almost drive right past it, but as soon as you go through the front doors, it's hard to miss all of the technology that's just thriving inside the buildings here. You'd think that it's just a few welders and some assemblers, and they're a big part of our workforce, but there's also lots of engineers, lots of administrative staff that's helping manage the projects, IT folks such as myself that are maintaining the hardware and making sure we're taking advantage of new technologies.
GK is a great place to work because of their family-oriented philosophy about the community and their employees. They treat everybody like family here, so it's a wonderful place to work.
Yeah, GK looks at the person and their work ethic and what they want to do, and we try to match them up and place them in positions where we feel that they will thrive.
GK is really heavy into the technology. We'd like to be the leader. We have won 9 world awards. They take the top 50 engineers of the world. We've been there 9 times.
An important ingredient in our success is our employees. We have painters, welders, machine operators, laser cutters, engineers, salesmen, accountants, and many other positions. Our employees have many skills and a lot of passion for what they do. Working together, we build the products that serve our customers and help them to succeed. We believe that we can build anything that our customers can imagine. What can we build for you?
When GK Machine designs a new product, we start out with some rough sketches and talk about the requirements for the machine, the basic functions that it will perform, and items like the target cost and the raw materials that will be needed. Once we have a basic idea of how the product will work, we begin to create the computer models and blueprints that describe all of the components. These will be used to program the machines that cut and fabricate the raw material. We have some of the most advanced material processing machinery available at GK Machine. Along with some classic tools like metal saws, press brakes, punches, and rollers. Welders play a big role in building the major components of our machines. We have giant rooms for powder coating and painting that allow our painters to coat all of the parts and assemblies before the product goes to final assembly. Trained employees who know how to efficiently and accurately assemble the very complex machines work hard to build a quality product. When all of our work is done, the product is ready for delivery to a customer who will put it to work. As our employees begin building the next machine, we take pride in knowing that we are having an impact on the lives of our customers.
Brianne Thomas, and I work in HR and quality. I'm Sarah Tittle. I love working at GK Machine because of the family aspect of it. Rebecca Hayes. We are in charge of accounts payable, and so we go through all of the paperwork that comes in.
My name is Nick. This is my first day. I heard a rumor it's your first day. Is that true?
It is my first day. I've only been here a few hours.
Really?
Right now we're running the heater lines and the AC lines from the cab.
Rick Cruz. I'm one of the greenhouse fabricators. We build big greenhouses.
How do you like it?
Okay, now how do I make it go? Okay, so that was a little introduction to GK Machine. So with that said, what did you guys have any questions?
So we have a question on the chat. Who are your customers?
Who are our customers?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll answer and I'll let him answer too. We have several, I call them three cycles. One is agricultural equipment where we build a GK product and sell it directly to farmers right here in Oregon, Washington, and California, sometimes Idaho, New Mexico, basically West Coast. And then we have, what we do is we build equipment for other companies and we put and brand it with their name. And I would say about a third of our income comes from GK product, a third comes from us manufacturing for other companies. And then the third is what I call everything else, which is greenhouse, our repair department, our retail storefront out front, and all the other things that we do. So Brent, why don't you, since he works with customers directly, he's probably better than I to answering this.
And I do work with all three aspects of what she just described. So we do work with those, we call them OEM, or original equipment manufacturer, for some of those companies that not only buy things that we build and rebrand as their own, but they also will buy from us for stuff that we build it as our GK product. And on the everything else, which encompasses a lot, with our repair department, farmers and just regular homeowners will come in with a problem. They need something fixed or repaired, or they want us to build something that doesn't go through our production facility, we have the ability to take that, we call it off road, and go ahead and deal with it right there. We have a variety of products for companies that have nurseries and things like that for doing spraying, as well as the homeowner that wants to, have a little spray tank and be able to change out spray nozzles and things like that. So we have a pretty extensive parts department. And we can also, if we don't stock it, we have the ability to order parts for end users that normally you wouldn't be able to find. So we're really good at being able to kind of turn on a dime and serve the needs of everyone from large companies to single individuals. That's what makes it an exciting place to work, because you never know what's coming through the door on any given day, and it always changes. So it's always exciting, and at times it can be very, very fast paced.
Yeah, 1 week we can be building robotic cultivators, and next week we are building toilet trailers. So it just depends on our customer and their demand. In our database right now, we have a core customer base of about 2,000 customers that order from us on a regular basis. Our engineers basically will do a prototype. They'll develop the prototype of the idea for the customer, and then we'll make it manufacturable. And then we can give them an idea of what it's going to cost them to do a production run of 1,000 of those machines. So that's kind of our process when we're working with other companies developing their brands and ideas.
So I also see that someone is asking, what are the entry level roles? That can be from doing assembly to sweeping floors to breaking parts out of things that have been lasered out. And then you kind of get a feel of what you like and what your strengths are, and then you can move up in the company. There's always room for upward movement in the company.
Yeah, there's shipping department, receiving department, paint department, our machine shop, our laser department. So there's a lot of entry level positions. And then we have what I would call your mid-range positions that require a little bit more experience and knowledge. I mean, we're not going to just let anybody operate a $1.5 million laser cutter. So we want somebody that knows what they're doing. And then we also have very high level positions for management, as well as our engineering staff. I think there's 23 or 24 engineers on staff now here at GK.
So the hiring process from Danny. So the hiring process is you can apply online, you can come in and pick up an application and kind of along with your resume, show us what your strengths are, what you're interested in. And then that gets passed on to our HR department. And we do have an HR person that takes care of all that. Whether you apply online or in person, we get that information to them, and then they review your application. And if it's a good fit for us and looks like a good fit for you, then we'll contact you for an interview and then start the hiring process if you're successful. As far as how young do we hire people, you have to be 18?
I think it's 18.
I think it's 18.
I know we've had a few interns in the past that were under 18, but they're inside of an internship program. So they are working directly with a senior person every day. And so we have had some high school internships here at GK. We generally do those during the summer months. So you can come in, work through 2 or 3 months in the summertime just to get an idea of what GK does and what interests you. And then you can kind of find your place.
And there are so many different jobs. I mean, you can't count them. There's so many. And even when we think we have all the jobs covered, you find a niche where you need a certain person to be able to do something else. And so then we create a position for that person, and either we hire internally or externally through the hiring process, through the application.
This is a good question. Education requirements. It's going to depend on the job, of course. Your engineers, of course, they have to have a college degree of engineering. We have mechanical as well as manufacturing engineers. And license and certifications. We do have quite a few certified welders. This is required especially for food quality work. We have stainless steel experienced welders that are doing food quality welding. And so some of those higher or mid-level to higher positions do require certification and or education. But I have to tell you some really great success stories. We had a young man who started out breaking out parts. I think it was 12, 13 years ago in our laser department. He is now managing and programming our laser machines for us now and runs an entire department. And so we do both. We will hire educated people for certain skills, but we also like to train and grow our own people. How did I end up working here? Oh, that's a long, boring story. I met the owner. I was working at another job and I came into GK to sell the owner a sponsorship for an event. And I found out right away, this place is fascinating. And he was a fascinating person, kind of a self-made entrepreneur. And I just couldn't get enough of what I was seeing. And that's how I ended up working here. I got to know the owner, and within a couple of years of knowing him, he was saying, you need to come work for me. And I'm like, okay, I'm there. So it was kind of a cool story. Brent, go ahead.
So my career path is a little different. I grew up raising registered Angus cattle, so I have a pretty extensive agricultural background, and then moved into teaching elementary school, and decided to make a career change and retire from that, and was looking for a job. And a friend of mine actually said that GK might be hiring. So then I went in and applied for a parks department position, and did that for several years. And GK recognized that I had the skills for even more sales. And I do some training here at GK. So I do some teaching on our systems that we do on our computers. And then I was promoted to the position I am now, which is outside sales and taking care of some inside customers. And it's, like I said, it's different every day. And I can't even think of anything that I would rather be doing than working here.
That's awesome. And he's a great teacher. I mean, his talent and training has been phenomenal here at GK. Entry level pay. Good question, Ivan. Basically, it's going to depend on the job. Our entry level positions, we generally pay a little bit higher. We know that we're out here in Donald, Oregon, and some people commute. Like I live in Salem, and it's about a 30-minute commute for me because there's not a lot of housing in the area. And so we pay a little bit at the top of the scale. I would say, for example, our paint prep people, they'll start anywhere from $14, $15, $16 an hour. Some of our guys out on the shop floor that start out breaking out parts, for example, again, they're being paid $14, $15, $16, sometimes $17 an hour just to start in the shop. We pay our machinists anywhere from $25 up to $35 an hour if you're a certified machinist, and then and up from there. Salespeople do fairly well. Parts counter individuals do very well pay-wise. So it really depends on the position and the department. But I can guarantee you, if you show value as an employee, you can move up easily here at GK Machine. I see it. I see the hot shots that come in and they work their tails off. They're the ones that are moving up. What is the most and least rewarding aspects of your job? I'm letting you take that one.
So even though my title says sales, I don't see myself as selling things for people or to people. I see it as solving problems. They have a need that they need fulfilled, and it's my job to make sure that need gets fulfilled and then they're happy about it. And the least rewarding aspect is sometimes it can get a little bit crazy because we do so many different things and we have so many different, well, we call them jobs as they go through, so many different jobs going through the shop at one time. Sometimes it can be a little much to manage, you know, getting quotes out to customers, checking to make sure your things are getting done, communicating with the customer to make sure that they know that the timeline is what you specified. because they want to be apprised of everything that's going. So it can be a little stressful, and that's probably the least rewarding. It's hard to think of anything that really isn't rewarding, because when it is stressful and you overcome that, that's more like of a reward. So I always see it as they're all positives. And if something doesn't go my way, it's a learning opportunity, and I can always turn that around and learn from that experience and keep going. And the next time that I get the same situation, I know how to handle it, and I just excel the next time around.
So being marketing and communications, I love what I do. I've always just had a thing for marketing. I love helping the salespeople succeed. So my job is to get the word out about GK Machine brand, keep the website up to date, help with new product development, new product research. When these sales guys come up with a new idea, I'll go do the research behind it to see if the market and what the price needs to be, what our competition is doing. And I find that very rewarding. The least rewarding part of my job is probably filing. I just, not a very good, as you can see, I'm not a very good filer. So let's see, internships. Generally, we do internships in the summer, but not always. If your schedule allows and you're getting out of school at a different time of year, we can certainly do internships at any time of the year. Some of our internships for engineers we've done those during the winter months as well, because we're a little bit slower during the winter months, except for this year. But we're generally slower during the winter months because of our agricultural seasons in Oregon. Does GK Machine offer scholarship to their employees who move up in their career at GK? Yes, they do have a education reimbursement program here at GK. For example, if I wanted to go take a class in some type of new marketing, or I wanted to get certified as a communication officer, I would apply. There's an application process at GK, and I would go to my supervisor and say, I would like to take these classes or this certification to help improve my working skills. And there is a 50, I think it's 50-50.
Oh, as far as
Reimbursement.
reimbursement.
Yeah, you get reimbursed. If you pass the class, you get reimbursed for the cost of the class. I'm not sure of all the details of that, but we do have a program for a continuing education and continue your education while you're working. I've even seen them in the past when we wanted to certify, let's say, a great employee in our machine shop, but they need to go to school to learn how to be a machinist and run and program machines. I've actually seen them adjust their schedule to allow them to go to class. So we've also done some creative things in that regard too.
Well, and GK as a company sees the value in having more experienced and more certified employees, so that we can just move forward and we can grow as a company. And the more experience you have and the better certified you are, the more things that we can do to serve our customers. And so we really place value on that.
Okay, we don't see any more questions. So do you have any other questions? We'd love to answer. Okay.
Anyone?
If there's no more questions, we thank you for having us today. We always love to talk about GK Machine and open people's eyes to a great career in manufacturing.
And you can contact either Brent or Connie at GK. Just call the main line and ask for either of us. If you have questions that you think of when everything's shut down, you're like, oh, I wanted to ask that. We're more than willing to help you out and answer your questions for you.
Yeah, and anytime, and hopefully someday when COVID's over, we'd love to give on-site tours again, because that's what's really fun, is to talk to the guys out on the shop floor who actually do the job. And so we look forward to having live tours again someday.
Yeah, and we have your link on our website. So for those of you guys who got our Zoom links on our website, we also have a link to their main website and their careers page. So if you guys are interested in seeing what kind of positions are open right now, or what they do, or learn more about what they do. And I think I'd be really excited for next year to have a bus tour. I know I wasn't here for last year, so I was just like keep hearing about it. So I'm kind of excited.
Well, and what you see in the video, it does not even compare to what it looks like in real life. The size of our company, we have 177,000 square feet of manufacturing space.
On 22 acres.
And so it takes like an hour and a half to 2 hours to take a good tour, just walking around, not really stopping very much. So it's really impressive. And I would encourage you, if you would like to come take a tour, to contact us and we can facilitate that for you.
Yeah, that sounds great. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording real quick.